everybody. So I just wanted to make hopefully a quick video to just explain a little bit about our standards-based grading. A few years back, the elementary began to transition towards the standards-based grading, and they began in kindergarten. And now, a few years later, we are now standards-based grading in kindergarten through fourth grade, with 5, 6 to follow next year. So I just kind of wanted to give you some information about kind of what standards-based grading is and kind of how it looks a little bit different than what we are used to seeing in the traditional grade cards. So standards-based grading breaks down large subjects into smaller learning objectives to help teachers and students better measure student learning. So instead of assigning a grade to students according to traditional grading scales, or percentages, standards-based grading measures students against a specific skill and standard. That makes it really clear to teachers where students are thriving, where they're excelling in, and then also where they need help. So it just gives better clarity about what specific things students understand, and also what they don't understand, so that teachers can better provide instruction where the student needs to improve, where they need to grow. With that, I do kind of want to explain priority standards. So priority standards are a set of skills, usually about 5 to 10, that each grade level has in each subject. These priority standards have been identified by the state educational department. So we really base our instruction off of, focusing on these priority standards. And which brings me to proficiency scales. So each standard has a proficiency scale. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a little bit. But to compare, kind of give you a little idea of how each one looks and kind of how they differentiate. Traditional report card grades list simply, the subjects, reading, math, and then gives a percent or a letter grade. So whereas standards-based grade cards, they are able to break down the specific smaller skills specific to what the student is learning. So if we look at this one right here, it says that for math, it lists math and has a specific grade, but then it also breaks down that I can define a number sentence. I can solve number sentences that have brackets. And then, for example, I can find a sum of 2-digit numbers. So it just kind of breaks it down and gives the student and you as a parent a little better idea of what specific things the student needs to work on, rather than just math. So if I have for example, a B in math, I don't really know what that means. I understand I'm doing okay in math, but what are some things that I could work on? With just the traditional reporting, it just doesn't really give that information. So proficiency scales are kind of our rubric for each priority standard to kind of determine where a student is performing based on a specific skill. So this one right here that I've pulled up is specific to kindergarten, and the priority standard is listed right at the top, which produces letter sounds. So if you look, we've got a number scale from 0 to 4 there on the left. And then you have in the middle some learning goals. You also notice there are half points there in between each number. And then over to the right, there are some sample tasks. It just gives a little bit more information about what that really looks like if the student is able to complete the task or understand that part of the skill. So on any scale for here at Milan, a level 3 is our target. That means the student understands the priority standard, the skill. They are ready. They understand what they need to know to be able to be successful in the next grade level. So we're always reaching towards that 3. But so with progress reports and quarter grades, your student may come home with a score of a 1, 2, or any of them really, but don't be alarmed if your student has a score of a 1, for example, on your first quarter progress report. That simply means that they're not done learning about that standard, that skill. That skill may not be something that they will reach a level 3 or be able to reach a level 3 until the end of the year. So what we're really focusing on with standards-based grading is showing the student and showing the teacher student growth. So with that being said, a student generally will come into a skill or start at a skill with not much background knowledge. So we expect them to probably be at a level 1 before teaching or before learning. So that means the teacher will begin instructing on, level 1, that level 1. Once a student understands and is able to produce evidence, evidence could be, various things such as classwork, projects, assessments, things like that. Any type of evidence showing that they understand. Once they show understanding of all of the smaller skills in level 1, they could move up to the 1.5. So that means they may have a 1.5 on their grade card. So that means for this scale that they are able to produce 11 to 15 of the most primary or most frequent sounds for each consonant and short vowels. So very specific, that they need to, work on, sounds for consonants and short vowels. That's something that, gives you a direction of, how to support your child at home. And then as you move up the scale, a level 2 is approaching towards the goal, producing 16 of 20 of those primary most frequent sounds for each of the consonants or short vowels. And then here, if you look at the meeting, they are able to produce all 26 of the most primary or most frequent sounds for each consonant and short vowels. Once they have all 26 of those, they have met that goal for that standard or that skill. So, and then off on further to the right, it just kind of gives a little bit more kind of student-friendly, more explanation of what that looks like. So for a level 3, that means producing letter sounds when provided a list of random letters. That's generally, what that looks like when a teacher is looking for evidence of student understanding. So on this specific proficiency scale, the kindergarten teachers have marked here over in red, first quarter target. That means for on your report card or on your student's report card that most likely they're only going to have a 1, and that is okay. That's all they have been taught. That's all they have been working on in the classroom. If they are above a 1, they're exceeding their goal. So just remember, just because you're seeing what appears to be a low score does not always mean that it's a bad thing. Again, like I said, we're really looking for that growth. Teachers are looking for growth. Students like to see that growth, see that they're learning and making progress towards their goal. Standards-based grading also allows teachers and students to have, more immediate feedback, and specific feedback is just one of the positive things we see with standards-based grading. So with anything new, there are going to be things that, we just have to look at a little bit differently, kind of a mindset shift. So with that being said, generally at quarter assemblies, students get honor roll grades. But unfortunately, honor roll just really doesn't fit along with our standards-based grading movement. So that means that students in the standards-based grading classrooms may not be receiving honor roll grades. They instead will be receiving growth awards. So any students that have increased their knowledge will receive that award instead of an honor roll award. So hopefully this quick video just kind of gave you a little bit of information and clarity on how to understand your students' grade cards when they come home. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help. Thank you all for your time. Here we grow.